The next presenter, Jennifer Nugent, who here identified as a vice president of tropical shipping. So I want to embellish that a bit. Don't embellish. Okay. I was going to say most humbly, this is one of my close elder sisters. I regard her as a mentor in many ways, and she is one of my most spirited, positive examples of the qualities of not only a virtuous woman, but a liberator, a unifier, and a doer. So I really would like us to welcome Jennifer.
Greetings. I am indeed highly blessed and favored to be here with all of my sisters. And I'd like to thank especially the mighty daughter of Africa, my sister. God bless you. I give honor to whom honor is due, and I'm really especially honored to have my brother who is rising my spirit, as he's always done. We go way back here. I think we should tell them how far back.
I think we should.
But then I'll have to give them an image of this massive running back, Central High School, and the best cabin football player. You want me to call it that too? I give deference and honor to you, brother. To my husband. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. God bless you. My sister asked if my schedule was going to allow me to be home this weekend. And I knew that I had to take a flight. See, who came on a flight? You came on a flight? You came on a flight, my sister. And I said, in honor of the Daughters of Africa, tonight, what a tremendous night to open in honor of the Daughters of Africa. And especially to give greetings and honor to one of our mighty daughters, my dear sister, Donna. See, I have to say Donna, but it's reference and deference. I want to share tonight just a few moments with you in what I've themed tonight in celebrating African women's contribution to African liberation and unity. The topic of revolutionary love, better known to me as leadership. Revolutionary love. Tonight my sister asked me, she said, wait a minute, I hear you're a yachty girl. A yachty girl. And I said, wow, it's amazing how you come full circle. I was truly blessed and honored when you were brought to take the lead after our good brother, Marvin Williams, was a tremendous brother, and he really put his stamp on the Caribbean writers, and we're so honored that you have been placed in this leadership position today to take us forward to the next level as we remind ourselves of truly who we are as people, and that we are mighty people spread across this mighty land, and that our task is big. But as mighty women of Africa, our revolutionary love must become enforced more and more, because I think we've got some trouble in our family, and we've got to address the family. So I themed tonight my presentation, the making of kings and queens. A woman's role as a tree shaper. You know, Nelson Mandela is referred to as a tree shaper. He became a tree shaper because Nelson was made to be a king by women who are queens. And so I just want to share 4 things with you tonight, and then I'm going to show you an 8-minute leadership video. And I specifically chose that video because I think it has some profound statements that as we continue to make our kings and queens, our new role in this world with new challenges is forcing us as African mothers, daughters, sisters to redefine our role. My sister said I was a virtuous woman, and I accept it. Sister Kahina, I accept it because I have considered myself to be infinitely blessed. I believe the wisdom of my mother and my grandmother, buried in Spanish town, St. Catherine, Jamaica, has left an indelible mark for me as a woman who shaped trees, the making of kings and queens. And so in redefining our role as women in this absolutely challenging new world, some people say, I believe that our task has become even greater. It is requiring, as we shape trees, as we make kings and we make queens, that the challenges of this world will become relevant only when we are reminded of our foundation. Someone one time asked me, how does it feel when everyone asks you about that gap in your tooth? And I will tell you, as a child, it was a challenge because people thought that gap was not a sign of a great mark, until I got a little wiser and realized that it was an indication of where I came from in Africa. And so I have chosen not to fill the gap, because my good brother, Mighty Sparrow, one time talked about the sweetness of an African woman with the gap between her teeth. And I realized that he was a wise man. But the reason I mention that is because my mother and my grandmother both had this gap. I don't remember too much about the face of my grandmother and my mother's side in Jamaica. But I remember specifically my mother saying that tooth, that gap was a definition of who I was and where I came from, a mark of who I am. There is an old African proverb that I think is still so relevant, and I use the word old, but I should probably correct myself, especially in the light of my sisters, in honor of all of you that are here, that it's not really old, but it is still relevant, and it says, the one who asks questions doesn't lose her way. I want to say it again. The one who asks questions doesn't lose his way. The one who asks questions doesn't lose her way. And so I believe that as we're shaping trees and making kings and queens, one of the redefining role that we as African women, daughters, mothers must remind ourselves is that long ago when they used to say, don't ask me no question, you ain't supposed to know you're a child, just listen, has to change. I have an 18-year-old and she has changed me. She has reminded me of the newness of this time and this world, and so I am no longer challenged or threatened by her questions, but rather I am fortunate to say she is blessed. And I am grateful that I am able to answer the questions. So the proverb says, the one who asks a question doesn't lose his way. But I ask and I challenge those of us who are tree shapers, makers of kings and queens, to allow our children to ask questions. To ask questions. And to be wise mothers, daughters, sisters, as we shape those trees and we make those kings and queens, that even if we don't have the answer, we find a way to find the right answer.